Hi everyone, and today I want to talk about the awakening energy roller coaster. When people wake up, it really is like this flood of energy has suddenly been unleashed, and so there's this image of the dam having been broke, and there's just this energy and there's this real visceral quality to it that seems to be going on constantly inside you, and it can be quite overwhelming at first, especially if people aren't already sensitive to energy. So then they can really feel like they're going out of their minds. It's like, oh my god, what is this? I feel like I'm on fire, or like my whole body is constantly vibrating, or there are these pulsations going everywhere. And even for people who are already sensitive to energy, it's kind of be like, wait, what is this? I've never felt this before, and not in this sort of intensity. The good news is this is very normal. And so if you imagine that this is like a floodgate of energy that's been pent up and building up for most of your life, then it has certain phases where there's that initial deluge, and then over time you kind of get more and more comfortable with it. And really, the best thing you can do is to come into that space of acceptance, right? This is such a constant theme in the spiritual path, and here it's especially important because where you get scared, you're starting to resist your own energy, because this is what this is. This isn't some divine energy from someplace else that's anointing you in any sort of specific way. It's just you. And the breadth of you is just this powerful. And it'll often go in kind of waves too. So it's like this combined metaphor of the ocean and the flood, where the flood has certain waves, and so you get this one wave, and then another comes through at different times. And part of what accelerates some of this for some of you is the embracing. It is both the quickest way and the greatest way to increase intensity, because as more of you opens, more of your own energy becomes accessible. And so like other dams sort of break, because awakening really is kind of the beginning. It's not an end point, and a lot of people have this confusion about spiritual awakening or ascension or enlightenment. You know what? Use whatever term works for you, because to me they're all the same. And so you have all this movement inside of you, and it can seem quite overwhelming. It's like, how am I going to be with all this? Well, it's just you. So you really continue to look at where are you resisting, because as you drop those boundaries, those barriers, those fears, those angers, because that's what it usually is. It's around fear usually. These old pains that we cling on to, these attachments. You become more expansive. And becoming more expansive, you start to set down some roots. And so if we go to now the metaphor of the seedling, right? The seedling has now burst open, but this is not the end point for the seedling, right? This is just the beginning. And for those of you who've been spiritual seekers all your life and you've done all these things, you're going to suddenly realize that doing had nothing to do with this. Doing actually was a distraction from the awakened self. It's a way to put awakening or enlightenment as a goal over here. And now it's right here. And while some tools will be helpful at this time to continue to breathe in, to let go, to learn about these barriers you have, and to help remove those resistances in any sort of way that you need to, a lot of the rest isn't going to be helpful at all, because it has its own awareness. Now, this energy roller coaster you can kind of feel on it. It'll have different kind of flavors for everybody. So the pulsation is one, where it just kind of feels like something's kind of like a heartbeat, you know, of energy, but it has a different quality to it than that sort of visceral heartbeat feeling. And so there's no way you can really stop it, and you shouldn't be thinking about stopping it. And that'll get you into all sorts of additional discomfort very quickly. There's another way where it can just kind of feel staticky. It's just kind of like this layer that's kind of vibrating out here like this, you know, in different parts of you. And I encourage you to get more comfortable with your energy and to just use your hands as well as your kind of awareness where you close your eyes and just kind of feel through your own space to be kind of like, what is this like? And as you get more sensitive to it over time, as you release resistance, it tends to get more refined. And so it's difficult to describe it because it's such a sense space, you know. But I can tell you that, you know, I felt my own energy, you know, where there's certain levels of kind of denser heavierness, and of course it's obviously not in weight. You know, I can't put this on a scale. I was this heavy in my energy before, and now I'm this light. But that's that quality of dense becoming more and more refined, lighter. Right? And so this is actually the idea of the higher vibration. You're becoming lighter. But I don't like to talk about that too much because I want you to think more about your natural vibration. Because otherwise the ego runs in and decides I should be the highest vibration of all time. And it's just like, this is not what it's about. So there's a pulsation. Heat is very, very common. That energy just kind of generates that heat as it starts to move. And some of that's kind of like that friction with those old unconscious parts inside of ourselves. So it starts to kind of grind through it and starts to heat those up and starts to melt them. In some of my healing sessions and the spiritual teaching work, my body heats up as I go into healing work with other people to kind of bring things to light and to help work them through their unconscious stuff. So there's heat, there's pulsations, there's kind of that vibrational static that also, all these things will kind of calm down eventually. There can often be, for a lot of people, a feeling of getting stuck at certain parts of their body, at which point I just encourage you to bring your attention to what's feeling stuck. So if it's like somewhere in the middle of your back, you can just put your hands there and just be kind of like, just be with it. We're not trying to change it, just to be with it. In the awakened space, things are going to move on their own. For other people, who aren't in the awakened space, because anybody can feel energy, it's more important to kind of know what's going on here in sort of a conceptual way, because I think that makes it easier for you to let go. And then, of course, energy healers and spiritual teachers are helpful in these ways to kind of say, well, what is this blockage back here? And, to kind of focus more of that combined joint energy onto it. That's really what healing work is, that sort of combining of awareness towards something. In awakening, you usually have more energy than you know what to do with it, so that combined awareness doesn't need a lot of help because you're already combining your awareness together with the universe. That's the space of oneness. Anything that stands in the space of oneness gets pressurized, and that's where a lot of the pain that I've talked about in other videos can come up for people. And of course, this stuff goes in kind of waves. And so at times it seems like your energy kind of settles back down. So, okay, and then it picks back up again. And it kind of goes like that. And this is the expansion, contraction phases that we go through as you move from that little seedling space and start to grow and get your roots in the ground and come into your natural growth cycles to this life. And that's really what this energy is taking you towards. It's helping you heal out all the resistance so you can go into your natural growth cycles for this lifetime. And that becomes, the rest of the story of your life, where this is truly can be just the beginning. Although we don't want to think too much in time, because ultimately we're just here in this moment. So with all that said, I hope this was helpful to you. Once again, my name is Jim Tolles, and I blog regularly at spiritualawakeningprocess.com. Have a beautiful day.